So I just read something really disturbing, and I'm going to say something really ugly. I'm going to start by reading you the article because I think it's just important, as they say, to get the facts out. So, buried on page 9 of Times of India, way beneath all the thugs, political thugs, and drug dealers, and political drug dealers, in the Times City section is Man Gets Life for Raping 4-year-old Daughter. New Delhi, a trial court sentenced a man to life imprisonment for raping his. They were kind of repetitive, so I'll try and skip over the parts that are repetitive. They also imposed a 20,000 rupee fine, which is not a lot of money, perhaps for him. The judge says it's just, it's just there's no leniency in such a case. So here's what happened. Okay, because this is the interesting part. The case dates back to April 4th, that's the day Martin Luther King got shot, 2009, when the convict had returned to Delhi from Ahmedabad 4 years after he had abandoned his wife and their 4 daughters. As he returned to Delhi and stayed at his brother's residence, his wife came to meet him in a bid to persuade him to return home. So, okay, so from these 2 sentences so far, we've learned that he has 4 daughters. And this is in a time and in a place where girls are lucky to be born. And they let 4 girls be born. And so I'm already just trying to situate this man and where he and his wife sits. And then after 4 years with these 4 daughters, she's still somewhere waiting for him, like the wife of Job, I guess. The article continues. So she's begged him to come home. When he did not budge, she returned home, leaving her 4 daughters behind. She left. She left. She said, you know what? 4 years, 4 daughters, there. Sister girl said bye and deal with it. Now, probably, I don't know what was going through her head. Maybe she imagined that amount of pressure would drive him back home. Because what the heck is he going to do with these children? But, Sister girl didn't measure him right. This is a man who walked out on her after 4 daughters who apparently had been suffering a great deal already. So he broke, and this is what he did. The man began drinking liquor on the roof of the house, where was his brother, and later raped his youngest daughter. The child was rushed to the hospital. Okay, so the headline should really read, Man Rapes Youngest of 4 Daughters. And so we need to, and I stress this because we need to see this while we're able to demonize this demon, and while I haven't heard anybody offer any sort of psychosocial profile of, this family that is apparently crazy, I do ask, well, if girls are lucky to be here, if you go to orphanages and they're filled with little dark girls of low caste, just those are the people who are thrown away. And I'm not saying that all orphans are a result of somebody throwing someone away. But here, that's the case. That, orphans are filled with, just flesh that nobody can do anything with. Worthless flesh. They're filled with worthless flesh. And we know what others have done with worthless flesh. They've exterminated worthless flesh in other ways. You might be hearing Nazi Mein Kampf business here, and so you might not be surprised that Mein Kampf is the top seller here on the streets of Delhi. And on those very same streets, you were lucky to see, women working, women in positions of power. Beyond. I'm not going to say, one major woman in power who is an interesting and international import, but the position of just female flesh. And this is the other major story in all of these newspapers. The position of female flesh here in this city is so worthless that, girl, you better not walk around at night. So I ask myself, who is the ugly person who says in this article, well, if he had just aborted the 4 girls in the first place, one after another, they wouldn't be in this situation. He wouldn't have had to rape that child to prove his point that girls are worthless. Yes, honey, there are some ugly people at home right now saying that stuff. Probably the same one whose kids call me Hopshi on the street.